What's up, man? Um,
This is
how are
cool.
you?
I'm good. I'm good.
So, as I said before, I love your new haircut.
I told you, I haven't had this short in a long time. Like,
Ooh, Miss Lena Marchman says hi! Exclamation mark.
yeah, tell her I say hello. What's up, Lena? How you doing? Actually,
How
I don't
you
want
doing?
to say hello. I'll just
Yeah,
tell.
Kevin's from New York originally, so he says how you doing like Joey from Friends. How you doing? Well,
That's
hey, dude.
not true, Ryan. That's just not true.
Miss Lena Marchman says good! Exclamation mark.
Awesome. Awesome.
Awesome. Thanks for tuning
Tell her
in.
thank you. Why am I doing that? Tell her I
What?
said this. She's watching. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here, Lena. I guess I'm just not used to somebody being here that isn't really in front of me that I can't see. I'm a very visual person, I suppose. And so it's like having people in a virtual realm is
Charles Charles says he can see us, but he can't hear us.
really. Tell them to
Should we
check
plug
the
in?
microphone down here. Oops, where is it?
Charles, is all your volume turned up?
And hit the gear shifty or the um.
Got it. Cool. Okay. We were prepared. We had wire things to plug in. So, all right. So, Kevin, thanks for tuning in all the way from Austin, Texas. All right. Cool. Thanks, Lena. She can hear us loud and clear.
Perfect, perfect. All right,
Um,
welcome, guys. I'm so
yeah.
glad you guys are here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Party time on a Tuesday. Taco
woo.
Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday. Yeah,
So
you have
Kevin, I wanted to say officially happy 6 year anniversary and one day.
and one day. Thank you, man. Thank
Ah,
you.
so I got to meet you in person.
What? I got
Lena,
to meet. Yeah, I went to Lena's house just on Saturday, and I got
no,
to meet Lena. Yeah,
that's
she's a
awesome.
very special individual. Organizes some very amazing people in the Austin area, and we just organized a creative collective
Very cool.
of amazing creators that are changing the world, and I'm honored to be a part of it. It's really exciting. So thank you, Lena. I'm
Yeah, she said congrats. So yeah, I just wanted to say happy 6 year and one day anniversary from your TBI. And I'm sorry we couldn't do this yesterday. I was too busy watching the Penguins lose to the Capitals.
sounds like something you do.
Lena says, "You are most welcome."
Oh, by the
So,
way, I can see the comments now.
oh, you
So
can. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
so she liked my backflip too.
Heck yeah, man.
I like that too. That felt awesome. You know, the second time I did it, I totally lost my balance and I almost posted that video, but it was kind of embarrassing. I
Ah,
still pulled off the backflip though. I lost my balance and I'm like, forget it. I'm throwing a backflip. That's what I'm doing.
gotta commit.
Gotta commit.
So, for anybody watching, this is an AMA, and we've got two Lenas on here. That's crazy. You guys are the first people I've ever met with that name, and there's two of you. So, very cool. So this is an ask. This is actually an ask ACA, ask Kevin anything.
No,
Uh,
you can ask Ryan anything too. I told him you can ask him anything you want.
but yeah, anybody have any fun questions to ask Kevin about his 6 year one day anniversary? We would love for anyone to chime in.
You know, let me see.
Can
This
you see that question?
no. Oh, no.
What is your favorite food?
What is my favorite food? You know, oddly, salad. Salad's like the best thing ever. A big fatty salad with all sorts of different kinds of produce, and with some salmon or some steak, or just delicious. Oh, it's the best.
What kind of dressing do you put on it?
I put lots of oil on it. I don't
Lena
know.
seems suspicious.
What's that?
Lena seems suspicious. She says, "Hmm, salad. Hmm."
Oh, salad. I mean, that makes me feel the best. I feel like I'm getting the most nutrients to my brain, and I'm getting all the nutrients for my body and my neurons, and things start firing well, especially when I include adequate amounts of fat or more, lots and lots of fat. So, and high quality fats, of course.
Nice. Charles wants to know about pizza.
Pizza. On occasion. I love pizza. I'm Italian, and I used to live in New York, where I had Tony's Pizzeria on the corner. And Tony's Pizzeria had amazing New York slices for $2.
Do you go gluten free at all on the pizza?
These days, yes. These
Nice.
days, absolutely. Yeah.
My
Um,
wife and I buy a good frozen pizza. It's called Against the Grain. Have you ever had it?
yes.
They
None.
have good frozen gluten free pizzas.
They do. I agree.
So, hey, you got a busy schedule ahead of you. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about what you're doing in the next couple of
Yeah.
weeks? Just while
So
we're chatting.
yeah. So to let's see. No. Here we go. So Paleo FX is coming up in not this weekend, but next weekend.
Hmm.
Paleo FX here in Austin. So I'm going to be at Paleo FX, and I'm going to be volunteering for the dinners. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm way excited for that. And meet, or just to see a lot of the people who I work with in the paleo community, and there are quite a few because essentially um, after my injury, I was steered towards a nutritional protocol. I was like, started regaining clarity. I was like, whoa, I was in a fog for almost a year, and I didn't even realize I was in a fog. I say, how can one tell that it's raining when they're underwater? So as my brain fog began to clear, I was like, I dove into study, and I was going through medical records, hospital notes, emails, text messages, trying to find out what happened to me, and then at the same time, I was trying to understand why nutrition played such a huge role. So I began to study metabolism, neurometabolism, mechanisms of neuroplasticity, nutrients for synaptogenesis, and anything I could do to give my brain the building blocks that it needed to function and repair most optimally. And yeah, yeah. So that's why, and that's where paleo kind of made the most sense. I'm like, well, out of all the diets out here, this one is a good framework to start with for me. So I fell into the paleo community, and I've been hanging out with them ever since, and I love it because it's not like Paleo FX is not a diet conference. It's more like a medical conference. It's really amazing.
Yes, dude. Going paleo, I mean, has helped a lot of people that I know of in the brain injury world, post-concussive world. Kind of helped just kind of, like you said, like clear up the fog a little bit.
Hmm.
I mean, and overall, just looking at it from, sorry, I could go on a tangent about this, but going on an anti-inflammatory diet, just dropping it. So the other Lena is actually doing keto. Well, what do you know
Yeah,
about
yeah.
keto, Kevin?
All right. Actually, right here, this is my exogenous ketones shake that I made with. It's got greens in there as well, and it's like dehydrated greens, so it's not as good as eating a salad, which, as you know, is one of my favorite foods. But it's got a lot of the goods right here. And exogenous ketones, it's basically beta hydroxybutyrate, which Ryan, you probably could tell me more about than well, I don't know. It's basically ketones, and your brain can use beta hydroxybutyrate as fuel to
Yep.
generate ATP, and ATP is the currency for energy for your entire body. It's what every cell makes. The mitochondria in every cell produces ATP, and we usually use glucose metabolism to generate ATP, but ketones. So this is what's cool about being human is we have adapted a way to bypass glucose metabolism, and we can use fat as our fuel source. So
Yes.
you think about people living in Alaska or like the Inuit, where there's very little vegetation, and when there is vegetation, it's during one period of the year, and then the rest of the time there's no vegetation. So they're not eating carbs and grains all the day, which give them glucose, you know? What are they eating? Whale blubber and protein for the most part. So while I don't think that's an optimal diet for your brain, I think it's
Whale
really
blubber for breakfast.
well, yeah, blubber for breakfast, baby. I'm with you. I'm with you. I mean, I eat dinner foods for breakfast. You know, I don't eat breakfast food for breakfast.
Hmm.
They don't work for me, and it sets up your metabolism to have blood sugar spikes and dips. Sends it on a roller coaster. So it's a bummer. I
Uh,
see. Lena asked, "What is MCT oil?"
or what about it? Okay, I'll go ahead.
Or what about it? Well, yeah, MCT oil is amazing. It just turns into ketones very rapidly. And that which doesn't turn into ketones is flushed through your body, meaning you kind of get the runs if you drink too much of that stuff. So don't do that.
Disaster pants.
Start slow, move up.
Yep. Yeah. So you're familiar with Dave Asprey, and we could phone a friend on this and ask him a bunch of questions. But yeah, that's one of his things. Like I started doing the bulletproof coffee, like you do, right? You do the Kerrygold Irish butter in your coffee.
You know it. Kerrygold, not Kerry. Butter. I seem to. Here, you know what? So, guys, I'm running low on battery life here. Perhaps I can find a charger. But I'd have to step out, and I'm thinking that maybe going headphones it might help my battery life. Did that work?
You're still here.
All right, cool. So yeah,
Anyway.
MCT oil is great. The thing is, your body doesn't learn to metabolize fat right away, and that's where exogenous ketones are really awesome. And so I'm currently working with a company called Keto Credible here in Austin, and you'll be hearing more about them in the coming months.
Yeah, that's pretty great. So switching from diet, because diet is important for brain, obviously, going paleo help lift the brain fog, getting good fats and driving some ketosis has helped your brain. What about exercises? Neuro rehab.
Mm.
What do you want to talk a little bit about that?
These two little peepers. These things are powerful access to the brain. In fact, we have 12 cranial nerves in our brain, and 4 of them are dedicated to the visual system. That's 1/3 of your cranial nerves, and cranial nerves, what they do, that's your output to your entire body. Like cranial nerves access everything, everything. So 1/3 of everything are dedicated to these two little peepers. And it's actually 1/2 of those cranial nerves innervate or have pathways to the visual system, but 1/4 of them are absolutely dedicated to them. So this is a great access point, and that's why vision therapy and neurooptometry has been a huge deal, and why I'm very happy to see Charles Shedlovsky on here, because he actually he's on the board of the Neuro-Optometric Rehabilitation Association.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Thanks for all your work, Charles.
Yeah, for real. Thank you so much, Charles. It is it's a blessing to be involved with those guys as well. So yes, eye exercises, Brock string, which is converging and diverging, and then pursuits and saccades to stimulate one area of the brain while doing some other exercises at the same time. So I'll be doing some exercises, say with my left hand, which here, I haven't showed you guys this this example of things. Yeah. All right, you do that one. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna shrink you. Here we go. Let me see if this works. Yeah, there we go. You just got shrunk. Okay. So let me see if I can line this up. All right, neurological test is you do that as quick as you can, and that's as quick as I can do it with my left. And the reason why is because I have damage to my left cerebellum. And the cerebellum handles coordinated muscle movements, and that's why that's affected. So where was I going with this?
So like neurotherapy. So if you have a damage.
Oh yes. So if I'm trying to activate the left side of my body while drawing the pathway, strengthening the pathway from the right side of my brain to my left cerebellum, this is getting complicated, but the idea is I do something that visually stimulates the right side of my brain, and the way I do that is through visual stimuli, and it's the Donald Hebb came up with Hebb's postulate, which is that neurons that fire together wire together. So if we can stimulate this side of the brain while I'm doing some activity with the left side of my body, then we are strengthening the pathways between the right side of the brain, the left cerebellum, and the left side of my body.
That's awesome. Can you give us an example? And Irina, I think, just said hi.
Yeah, hi, Irina.
And then one, Lena numero uno or dos. I'm not quite sure which one is one.
Marksman or
Mejia? Did I say that?
All right.
She would like to know about biofeedback.
I don't know a whole lot about bio or neurofeedback. What I do know is that it's essentially measuring brain waves. This is what's pretty cool. While I was at the International Symposium on Clinical Neuroscience in January, they did some neurofeedback on me, and measured the baseline of my brain waves. And then I went into this like magnetic chair, had magnetic fields or something, and we were going to test it afterward as well. But while I'm laying in this chair, Dr. Flowers, who was there, and he's like, Gavin. I'm like, I'm just relaxing in this chair. But all of a sudden, Dr. Flowers is like, wake up a little bit, and he's like, oh man, hang out. I'll tell you when you're done. So I come out,
That
and
sounds
he's
exactly
like,
like Dr. Flowers.
I love him.
Great.
I come out. We actually just interviewed him on the podcast, which should be released tomorrow.
Sweet.
Yeah. So, while I come out, I stand up, and I'm talking to Josh, and he's like, dude, so somebody else had their brain scanned, and they compared your brain scan with theirs, and they were like, and the guy who was doing the neurofeedback, or the brain scan, was like, you see your brain, to the other guy, he's like, your brain looks concussed. It's clearly been concussed. See, this patient over here, he doesn't look like he's had a brain injury. And that was my brain that he was showing at that time, when he said it didn't look like this patient ever had a brain injury. And that's when Dr. Flowers is like, really? He's like, he was in a coma for weeks. He's like, nah, I think it's, he's like, no, that's my patient. Really? So that's amazing. That's just a testament to how plastic the brain is, and how eagerly it responds to proper care. Nutrition, mindset, exercise, all of these things are so important.
Absolutely, man. That's awesome. So neurofeedback. So basically, you defeated neurofeedback.
I don't know. I guess that was the EEG, which is what neurofeedback uses. So neurofeedback, I guess, is like kind of training the brain to make the right brainwaves, or the desired brainwaves. It's a little, I think it's a little, I don't want to say archaic, because that's not fair. It's also amazing that we're able to measure the waves of the brain, but it's incomplete. That's the word I'm going for, because what it's measuring is just the surface of the brain, the waves of the surface of the brain. And clearly there's a lot more than just what we see on the surface going on. So, but what neurofeedback does is it trains those outermost brain waves to be a certain way. And it's quite possible that those waves reflect the waves of the rest of the body as well, or awesome. The brain as well. Biofeedback is very similar, and probably biofeedback measures sweat GSR, which is galvanic skin response, I believe. And don't quote me on this. I'm no expert in biofeedback. I've never done it. This is just what I've read. And correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, but I think it measures galvanic skin response, which is basically micro sweating. And so they can monitor how your body is reacting, and how your sympathetic system is upregulated at times, when it's heightened and when it's lowered. And so when your biofeedback shows the effects of your brain to the rest of your body, whereas neurofeedback is looking at just your brain.
Cool. Good info. Thanks, man.
Nice. Thanks for telling me I'm like saying the right stuff.
Yeah, you're smart. You're a smart dude, bro.
Thanks, dude. Thanks, dude, bro.
Dr. Blum would like to know thoughts about brain reorganization.
Ooh, brain reorganization. What do you mean by that?
It looks like, okay, so Dr. Blum said biofeedback measures GSR, heart rate, and respiration.
That makes sense.
So, Dr. Blum, if you can just ask us what you mean about brain reorganization. Maybe like, I'm guessing he's asking like if there's an injury to the brain and to the brain tissue, how are you able to create adaptability and changes or use specific or different areas of the brain to create better, to create a movement pattern that you lost or something like that. Maybe that's what you're asking. I don't know.
Are we looking for movement pattern or brain wave state?
I don't know. I'll have
I
to.
don't know. Yeah, you're the functional neurologist. You know this way better.
Oh, I'm not 100%. So the difference is organization, but injured and non-injured. So he's asking what's the difference in organization between.
Oh,
So go ahead. I mean, you kind of touched on this earlier with, the brain's ability to be plastic. I think that's kind of where he's going with that.
yeah. Okay. Yes. As far as reorganization is using the mechanisms of plasticity to improve the organization of the brain. My interpretation of that question is kind of organizing how we think, because I can say from experience that it gets scattered and it feels scattered at times. And organizing the scattered thoughts, that takes calming my entire nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty important. So
one thing, like when I think about, and when I talk to, for example, this week we have a stroke patient in for rehab, and when I think about reorganizing the brain, I think about, okay, let's think about this for a second. We had a left-sided stroke that affected the right hand, right? So basically, let's just say we took the quarterback out of the football game. He got injured. But everybody on the team has an arm and they can throw a ball, maybe just not as accurately as the quarterback. So what we're doing is we're using other players that are kind of close by. So maybe we can't use the quarterback because he's injured, but we can use other guys and try to train them while the quarterback is healing itself and they start to communicate with each other. So that's kind of like, in my mind, what neuroplasticity is we're saying, hey, one of our buddies is injured, but our neighbors or our other players on the team can kind of step in. Maybe they won't do as good of a job because your movement went nice and smooth from this, but now it's like this, right? So they're relearning. Yeah, so they're relearning how to do things, and they're not as good. Yeah, they can create
which, by the way, is way better considering I was like that for months.
That's huge.
But I love the analogy you're making, and I'm thinking of like football player neurons.
I should have used like a drummer and a guitarist because you play music.
Yeah, right. And when you get the replacement in there, it's not the same.
Yeah, the drummer's a little slower than the real drummer. He can't play the drums as good.
So yeah, I love that analogy. I gotta warn you. Here's the deal. I have 5% battery life. I can probably step away for a moment and find a charger.
Okay.
Or we can, set it out for however long this goes and let my battery die. What do you guys think? What do you think?
Up to you. It's up to you. If you're go step away, go for it.
Let's do that. Why don't I step away? And you are on entertainment duty, so let me see. I bet you.
Thanks a lot, man.
Anytime, buddy. Here we go. Okay. There you are, Ryan.
Okay, it looks like I am the only one here, so we will talk to Ryan. Thanks, Lena.
Well, Ryan, tell them about yourself.
Okay.
What you and how we became friends.
Sure.
Yeah. All right.
I'll tell you guys my journey to meeting Kevin. Kevin's got to go find. My wife is sitting on the couch. She's like, "What happened?" Kevin's battery's dying, so he's going to find a charger. So hey everybody, my name is Ryan. I practice in Atlanta, Georgia. Sorry, I just didn't know he was going to leave me. So I practice in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a chiropractor, and then I pursued my functional neurology degree while I was in school. And then also, I became good friends with Dr. Brandon Brock, who is also a nurse practitioner. And so I'm finishing my nurse practitioner degree to integrate both sides of care. And I met Kevin. He's under care of a couple of people I know. Tom Culleton helped him out a lot in Austin, Texas. But then one of my good friends, Josh Flowers in Denver, has a center that I think Kevin's actually going there next week to spend 2 weeks there for therapy. So we have a clinic in Atlanta, and we're a functional neurology clinic. And yeah, we treat lots of grad from Life in 91. Oh, nice, Dr. Blum. That's awesome. I'm 2011. So very cool. Where do you practice? But just so you know, Dr. Blum, Life University opened up a clinic in Midtown, and so we actually have a neurology center on campus, and then we also have one in Midtown Atlanta. It's one side is a birth center, so we have 3 bedrooms for Dr. Fred. You're old. We have a birth center, and then on the other side, we've got a chiropractic side and a functional neurology clinic. And one of the things that I thought was awesome about Kevin is, he's writing his book, Feed a Brain. When I was doing my work in the hospital, I worked as a nurse on a post-op neurology floor where we saw traumatic brain injuries, post-stroke. And just the food in the hospital, of course, isn't that great. But, you always think about feeding the nervous system and how important nutrition is for proper functioning nervous system, but also for training. Like when we're doing neuro rehab in our clinic, you can tell when patients just don't have good fuel in their system. So we don't get too hardcore with nutrition, but we like to make sure that everybody is staying away from all the environmental toxins, all the inflammatory foods, especially if they can't handle them. And then we get into nutrition and blood work if we have to. So lots of fun. Anyways, I didn't know I was going to be hanging out on Kevin's page by myself. Maybe he'll put me in his book. My big ugly face on one of the chapters. So tell us a little bit about you guys if you want. I know Irina asked a question. Do you eat rice? Yes, I had some last night. If you have not dove into Dave Asprey's book, so here's my thing about food. I think that it's important to stay away from all of the major environmental toxins or all the major allergic responsive types of foods like milk proteins, wheat proteins, especially from a neurological standpoint. I'm going to go down a little rabbit hole here with Kevin, for example. So if you notice with Kevin, he had a left-sided dysdiadochokinesia, so he was unable to move his left hand fast like this. It almost looked a little bit pausic, a little more arthritic. And it's a slowness of movement, and that's a breakdown in his cerebellum. And the literature actually shows that if you eat foods with gluten in them, gluten-containing foods, they can actually go in and attack your cerebellum. So most people aren't, I would say, but a majority of people do have antibodies to glutamic acid decarboxylase, which is GAD. And what GAD does is breaks down glutamate into GABA. And GABA is our nice inhibitory neuron. But also, if you have GAD antibodies, you can have an attack against neurological tissue. And it just so happens to be your cerebellum, which is your area, your centers for good proprioceptive movements, good coordinated movements. So that's that with gluten and food allergens. But yes, I eat white rice. It's actually better for you than brown rice. If you read into Dave Asprey's research and his work, white versus brown, brown's actually got more toxins in it, is what they say. So if you do want to eat rice, if you don't have an allergy to rice, some people do, I would say dive into the white rice and, don't eat it every day. If you're going to eat sushi, eat white rice sushi instead of brown rice.
Thanks, Irina. Cool. Let's see if I guess Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think I think everybody else could hear me too. I think it was all your fault.
Oh, was it? Oh,
That's what I'm going with.
oh,
Here we
sorry,
go.
guys.
There we go. There we go. You know
You
what? I
gotta.
think people know who we are. We can trash those. We are back. Cool. All right.
Cool. So,
Okay. So yeah, they help to switch the metabolism over, which is great because it's a tricky transition. It's an uncomfortable transition going from being a sugar burner to being a fat burner. And fat or ketones are very efficient fuel for the brain. In fact, they're making ketone ringers, um, meaning like injectables for on-site battle wounds, brain injury battle wounds. Like if somebody gets blown up, they're going to inject them with exogenous ketones, specifically beta hydroxybutyrate, so it goes straight to the brain and protects the brain from a lot of the metabolic damage that follows. And by metabolic damage, I mean lots of chemicals that that come into play after an injury, specifically a calcium cascade, where a lot of calcium is introduced, which I believe depolarizes the membrane. And am I saying that wrong? You're the
no,
doctor.
I tried to pull up the comments and it was reverbing your talk. No, you're saying it right. Does Irina work for the ketone company?
We are working together. She is a phenomenal human being who has shown me a lot of this exogenous ketone stuff because I never did the exogenous ketones. I went through the uncomfortable metabolic change, um, and I've seen it, and I kind of go in and out of ketosis, which is actually healthy. It's
Yes.
really good to be metabolically adaptable. So you
Yes.
should be able to switch your metabolism back and forth without having too much of an uncomfortable period. And I've accomplished that at this point. I got a Ketonics breath meter, um, which you can order. You can go to adventuresofbraininjury.com, and then there should be a link that says shop somewhere on there, or you can go /shop. And I have a lot of the products that I use. And one of them is the Ketonics breath meter that tells you it's actually pretty accurate where your ketone level is. It's very accurate when you're working with actually converting fat into ketones. It doesn't work as well with the exogenous ketones, is my experience.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's good to know, man. Lena would like to know she is a type 2 diabetic and she lowered her blood glucose and she's
Nice.
losing weight, I guess, on a ketogenic diet. She wants to know more about what you're doing. So maybe if you guys can connect.
Nice. Well, that's great. Ketogenic diets are excellent for losing weight. As I was saying, the ketogenic metabolism is this slick bypass mechanism where we can. You like that, right? Slick. It's slick. Super slick.
It's like a biohack.
All right, if you want to go with the biohack term, we can do that.
Okay.
It's more like, hey, evolution has created this for a long time.
Yes.
It's funny, like paleo is a biohack. It's like we've only been doing paleo for hundreds of thousands of years, but we're now.
The cavemen were biohacking back in the day. They had nothing else to do.
Yeah, there you go. And
They didn't have iPads.
well, it's true. Actually, exogenous ketones, I'd call those biohacking, I suppose. That's using technology to improve our biology.
Sure.
And get in there. And really,
I just think it sounds cool. I don't know.
Yeah, do you feel like a biohacker when you talk about it? Like, yeah. I'm not there like with the numbers, the ones and zeros, like lit up in white with a green background behind me. I'm just imagining you with that background going. Perfect.
So it looks like Irina has like a ton of good information on ketogenic stuff.
Absolutely. So, yeah. If you would like more information about ketogenic metabolism, check out Keto Credible, and we will be. I'll be posting a lot more about ketones and ketogenic metabolism, and I've actually written a book that is coming out in October. So and that book is called How to Feed a Brain. So you can check that out at feedabrain.com/book. And feedabrain.com, we're building that site as well. But it's essentially, as I said, I realized that I was in a brain fog, and I began to research all of these ways that I give my brain the best environment to heal. And so through my studies, I learned a lot, right? And one of the biggest lessons, this is an analogy I use, is that many of my neurons have been damaged, and I think of rebuilding the connections between them like building a bridge. So what do you need to build the bridge? You need materials and you need skilled workers. I think of materials as the brain building nutrition, and skilled workers would be the therapy, the right kind of therapy, the right exercise, the skilled workers, ways to instruct it the right way. Because if you build the bridge in the wrong location or you build it upside down, it's not very functional, or it doesn't go where you want it to, right? Mm-hmm. So anyways, if you do all the right therapy, though, I go and see an incredible functional neurologist like yourself, but I don't. Oh, stop.
Oh, stop it.
But I don't supply the right materials. It's like having all the skilled workers, the best designers, the bridge architects that are world renowned, and then pulling up with a truckload of toothpicks and expecting them to build something.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That's better than my football one. That's awesome.
Conversely, if I eat all the right stuff, I take in all the right nutrients, but I don't do the therapy, or I don't do therapy where I know what I'm doing, it's like having the best materials, steel beams and like the highest quality, and then having nobody that knew what they were doing to build it, or nobody to do it if you're not doing the work, right? And again, if you have people building it the wrong way, sometimes that's worse than not having it built, right?
Right.
So there's negative and positive plasticity, meaning that we can build things the right way. That's positive. That's when we do things that are enriching our life or supporting our life. And then we can build things the wrong way or to the wrong places, and that would be the negative plasticity. So anyways, the point is we need both. We need the therapy done right, and we need supplies. And my book is called How to Feed a Brain, Nutrition for Optimal Brain Function and Repair. And it's coming out in October, and I'm really excited about it.
Dr. Karazian wrote your forward, who's one of my favorite peoples in the whole world. So that's super cool.
Yes, he is one of my favorites as well, and I'm over the moon that you wrote the forward. It's it's unbelievable and so humbling. What a good dude.
Super good. We have a couple of questions that popped in. If it's cool if I read them. Ashley Michelle asked, "This might be a dumb question. There are no dumb questions.
Yes, thank you.
So no worries if you don't want to answer it. But I'm working with a person who had a severe TBI who can't talk. Was there ever a time where you couldn't talk? If so, what was something you were wanting to tell people when you couldn't while recovering?" That's a good question.
That's a great question, and it's
Yeah.
actually it depends on the level that somebody can't communicate because we don't need our voice to communicate. For example, I couldn't speak for months. I was I was my hand was stuck like this. I was breathing through a tube in my neck and I couldn't talk. Maybe you guys can see the scar. A little bit,
Hmm.
a little bit.
Looks pretty darn good, man.
It's pretty. Yeah, I know. I'm kind of bummed about it. It's like all my buddies have tattoos, and I have like the coolest tattoo, but it's fading, and it's not like I know it's touched up, you know. Um, this one has a lot of meaning behind it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So,
6 years in one day. Well, I don't know when they put that in, but
yes, that's a good point. I do. I know exactly when to put it. No, I get
yeah, you would know better than I do.
it.
But sorry.
So yes, it depends on how much they can't communicate, whether they can communicate or whether they can just not talk. So maybe you can answer that, but I'll go on this in the meantime. So when we can't talk, we can communicate in so many different ways. So I wrote, and sometimes we can't write. So I also mouthed words, and my friends became really good at understanding, reading my lips, you know. Um,
Is
and
there anything like when you were trying to figure it out that you wanted to get out that you couldn't get out?
oh man,
Like before you like adapted to writing or
there was nothing more frustrating than not being understood, and I feel for patients that cannot communicate. Um, that has to be so hard. And one of the best books I've ever read is written by Jean-Dominique Bauby. It's called The Diving Bell and the Butterfly. And are you familiar with this, Ryan?
no, you have so many good books in your repertoire. I don't.
Read this book. It's only like 120 pages, and it is a gift to humanity. Here's the story. Jean-Dominique Bauby, he's a French journalist for Elle magazine. He did fashion journalism, and he's driving in his convertible, and he suffers a massive stroke on the road. Luckily, he pulled over and stopped, but he's just like, or seizure maybe. I'm actually not sure, but it knocked out his brainstem, and he had what's called locked-in syndrome, where he had no voluntary control over anything,
Mhm.
but nothing, right?
Typically, in locked-in syndrome, you can only move your eyes, correct?
There you go. There you go. This is what happened. The speech language pathologist who saw him, he calls her his guardian angel. And he only mentions her like twice in the book, but I know that she saved this man's life.
Oh
Because
man.
essentially he's locked in. He is completely aware, and this is where the title comes in, The Diving Bell and the Butterfly, because he uses the analogy of like, it was like he was in a diving bell, which is essentially they put divers in this iron bell. Here, you know what? I talk with my hands a lot, so there we go. now you can see what I'm talking with. So this giant bell, and it goes down to the bottom of the ocean with the diver in it. So it's meant to like sink the diver, and the diver's in this bell. Can't do anything outside until the bell is released, right? So he said, it's like my control over my body and my external circumstances, it was as if I was in a diving bell. Yet my mind was as free as a butterfly.
Wow.
Meaning he could go anywhere in his mind. And so he wrote this book. This is how he wrote this book. His speech language pathologist was convinced that somebody was in there. Nobody else was, because he couldn't move anything. And they developed a code because the only thing he could move was his right eyelid. That's it. And so she ordered the French alphabet in order of most commonly used letter to least commonly used letter, and would go down it and name each letter until he blinked. And then she'd write down that letter. And so
Oh my gosh.
they went through every letter of every word that he wanted to write, and he had to do it with her. So in the meantime, when he was not with her, he would plan, he would go over line for line, editing in his mind exactly what he wanted to say, because he knew he only got one chance to write this, you know, and this was his chance. And so he went through and wrote this entire book with his eyelid.
I gotta check this book out.
Check this book out. It's a gift to humanity. And
Crazy.
everybody else, please get that book, especially if you have a loved one who has trouble communicating or is not able to get some perspective of what it could potentially be like,
Mm-hmm.
and what could potentially be done to communicate, because there is nothing more frustrating than not being able to communicate.
Absolutely, man. That's crazy. Thanks for the info. That was a cool story, man. Lorna asked a question. She would like to know. She would like to know, what about if the injury happened a while ago, like greater than 5 years ago? Do you have experience with diet helping these patients?
Absolutely.
Ashley
Yeah.
says thank you. Thanks, Ashley.
My pleasure. Yes, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, the brain, well, it's only has 86 billion neurons and 10 times as many glial cells going on in there. So, you know, we get it pretty well. And we can make sure bet, like, yes, this will work. However, what we can do is we can support the cells of the brain and create the best environment so that the brain can heal itself, and then see what happens, you know? So there's no guarantees, but nutritional intervention at any time has made amazing strides, has done amazing things for people. And yeah, I absolutely think it doesn't matter if you're 10 years out, 20, 30, 40, 50 years out. You know, if you take a 50-year-old who's been eating like crap their entire life and you get them on a brain supportive diet, not only will their physique improve, but their mind will sharpen as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like removing anything that could be toxic in the nutritional or metabolic environment. Just, you know, feeding your brain what it really needs.
I heard you talking smack on almonds when I came in.
I wasn't talking smack on almonds. I just said my wife has an allergy to almonds.
Oh, all right.
So in the Cedarmark household, we drink cashew milk.
Ooh, the cashew milk, so good. I've mixed this with almond milk, and wow, that was loud. Irina, this is so good with almond milk. Even if
Ooh.
Ryan is a hater, it's delicious.
Oh no, I like almond milk. We just, we got to be careful,
Yeah, totally, totally.
um, Lorna asked how to get hope back. I think you had the last time we did a brain chat together. You had an awesome story just with your mental just your mental fortitude, I guess. I don't know.
I love
Kind of.
that word.
Can
I
you
love
kind of describe?
gratitude.
I don't know. You
No, I
go
do.
ahead.
I love that word. So yeah, uh, giving hope back. That's a lot of what I do when I work with people and I help them. I work a lot with loved ones of people in the hospital, and it's when people lose the spark within them, that is that's the greatest death. And that's where you're saying bring back hope. When hope dies, so does everything else. But the beautiful thing is hope doesn't die. It lays dormant for a bit, you know? And it or maybe for a long, long time. But giving back hope is finding it's individual for sure, and it's finding what gives that person what where that spark is and finding that spark. It's not easy to find a lot of the times, but when we can find that spark, um, then hope is restored through that. I was story is so powerful. So I'm going to tell a story about myself while I was while I was in the hospital. My left hand was flexed inward like this. I was breathing through a hole here, eating through a tube in my stomach. I couldn't eat, walk, or talk, and you know that sucks. And I was like, this sucks. My life's over. This is it. You know,
Especially for a guitar player.
right,
Yeah.
right. And and then I changed my mindset. And it wasn't just like flip a switch. It was actually an intentional like I need to change my mindset because the fact is I'm on this ride either way. You know, I'm already locked in. I'm taking this ride. I don't really have a choice in the matter. I can go on this ride kicking and screaming, or I can recognize that this is an adventure. And adventures suck sometimes. And then they get better, you know? And when we can recognize that we're on this anyways, and it's much better to it's better for us to get better by recognizing that we can kick and scream the entire time, but it doesn't help us, you know? So what does help us? Well, well, finding the good in things, and I hate to sound so positive and find your happy place, things like that. So here's the analogy I use. And this is an analogy to describe neuroscience. So I tell people your brain is your garden, and you have 86 billion plants in your garden, 86 billion neurons, give or take a few million, right? Um, so our garden is our neurons, and our thoughts are the seeds, and our attention is the sunlight and water. And you know this as a functional neurologist. What we give our attention to, those pathways grow. Those neurons grow. Those plants grow. And we all have weeds in our garden, right? Well, I don't even need to give you examples of weeds, but I will. Bad habits, thoughts we'd rather not think. Um, we all have weeds. We all have things that we rather would not be there. And the fact is, it'd be nice if we could reach in and pull the weeds. But that doesn't really work. Without brain surgery or brain injury, we're not pulling weeds. Our brain doesn't selectively destroy neurons. Here's what our brain does, though. When we imagine your garden and you cannot pull the weeds, how do you kill the weeds and bring the plants that you want to grow up? You water and give sunlight to the plants that you want to grow. You give your attention to the plants that you want to grow. And those grow. And eventually the roots from those flowers take over the roots of the weeds. And that's how we grow a beautiful garden.
Ooh, I hope you wrote this down in your book because that is awesome.
Thank you.
Did you? Can you give us any insight?
You've seen the cover of my book?
Yeah, it's so cool.
Thank you. And that was my idea. I'm like, no, our brain is our garden. And so yeah, and if you guys want to see the cover, go to feedabrain.com/book.
That's great.
Yeah, that's the cover.
That was seriously a great analogy. I think I got to use that with some of my patients because it's sometimes it's almost hard to be able to use your brain to be able to overcome the negative thoughts and to try and drive, not be like, oh, everything's rainbow and butterflies, but just try and drive some positivity in your thought process, in your goals and your objectives and doing things instead of letting all these negative things like anxiety and blah, blah, blah kind of take over. Because it's so easy, especially if you've had a brain injury, right? Because that's a lot of the front part of the brain, your frontal lobe. So,
and especially if you're not giving your brain what it needs, or your brain is inflamed, it's really hard to get past that stuff. I just heard a podcast with Dr. Lauren Noel, who I'm going to be interviewing. Not this Thursday, but next Thursday, and it'll probably be released maybe after PaleoFX, maybe before. But it was so good, and they actually brought up Willy Wonka, the old school Willy Wonka, right, with Gene Wilder. And the song is, do you all remember that movie? Do you all remember that movie? How good was that?
So good.
I mean, and Tim Burton's, I was so excited about Tim Burton's because that story it's sort of a dark story that's literally candy coated. And I was like, ooh, Tim Burton's, he's going to do this so well and it's going to be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
No. I was very disappointed. Anyway.
That's a tough follow-up, though. I mean, just saying.
What was that?
Gene Wilder, that's a tough follow-up.
It's a tough follow-up. I'm with you. So, anyways, in Willy Wonka or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I guess is what it was called. When they first go into the factory, Willy Wonka starts singing the song.
Dr. Gaudette loves Willy Wonka. Sorry, and Kevin Coates says, "What's up, Kevin?"
What's up? What's up, Dr. Godet?
What's up, Dr. Godet?
I'll be out there soon. Live. I'm so excited to see you guys. So, all right, when they first go into the chocolate factory, Gene Wilder starts singing, and the line I love, he goes, "If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to, do it. Want to change the world? There's nothing to it." And the line that I like, if we want to view paradise, all we need to do is view paradise, right? Is kind of what that whole that whole lyric is saying. And it's not easy, right? To just see what we want to see in the world. But by focusing our energy and our attention towards the flowers, those flowers grow. And by focusing our attention and the sunlight and water on the weeds, those weeds grow. I'm not saying ignore the weeds, like lock them away in a closet or anything. I'm saying they don't need to be right in front of your face all the time. Because seriously, when you live with painful things or things that cause you distress at the forefront of your mind and of your being, it only strengthens them. It gives them attention. And attention is your greatest asset.
And I hope a lot of people are listening because that is awesome. Seriously, so good, man. I love it. So we just gotta focus on the flowers, man.
I don't think it's we just got it, but I think, focus
It's
on
a
the
big part,
flowers.
though.
Focus on the flowers. Like, we
I mean,
can do things, but
just to kind of bring it back too, like Dr. Godet says, your speech has such clarity.
Thank you, Dr. Godet. It's from all the backflips.
Yeah. But we had I keep going back to the stroke patient, but he is doing pretty good walking wise, but one of his major concerns is falling. And I try to tell him every time we're walking, I was like, hey, I just want you to focus on walking. I don't want you to focus on falling, because when you put your focus there, your energy is going to go there, and your gait patterns are going to be a little bit disturbed. So just focus on walking, and just focus on getting from point A to point B nice and smooth. And it can change, it can change the motor output from the brain and do good things. So focus on the flowers.
I mean, there's a lot of research on the power of visualization. And we've been using visualization forever, right? Like coaches definitely use visualization. All right, I want you guys to imagine exactly how you're going to pull off that play. And then when somebody does, when somebody comes at you from this way, and how do you react? And you do this maneuver and you make it happen. There's not a coach in the history of coaching who's ever been like, all right, I want you to envision exactly what you don't want to happen. Just
Right.
really solidify what you don't want to happen, and don't do that. Like, it's not negative that we coach with. It is envisioning exactly what we want to happen, and then bringing that into fruition. And as you know, when we visualize or imagine a situation, mirror neurons fire. And when we imagine doing something, or when we see something done, when we watch somebody else do something the way we want to do it, our mirror neurons fire. You guys don't know what mirror neurons are. They did a test with this monkey who they like measured his brain every time he reached and grabbed a peanut. Or let's go with almond. He reached an almond. At least it's a real nut. So each time he reached and grabbed an almond, the neuron would fire, and they were measuring that part of his brain where a neuron fired when he picked up an almond. And then one of the researchers, a human, came in, didn't even realize that the monkey was still hooked up, and the researcher reached for an almond and picked it up, and guess what fired? The same neurons in the monkey's brain. And that was the first discovery of these mirror neurons, which basically show us that when we observe something happening, we experience it happening at a superficial, at a I don't even want to say at a different state, you know, in a
Yeah.
different way, but firing those same pathways.
You drive the motor pathways without the actual movement. You're firing, you're creating plasticity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that goes for more than just motor output. We're talking about when we visualize, um, when we visualize, well, you know what, let's just go with motor power output for now. When we visualize doing something in a certain way, like your patient, your stroke patient, who is visualizing himself falling. You're like, don't visualize yourself falling.
Right.
Visualize yourself walking perfectly. And you should use that analogy of the coach. Tell them there's no coach that says, think about what not to do, because that doesn't work. What works is thinking about what to do.
I love it.
Don't feed the weeds.
Don't feed the weeds or feed the flowers. Let's
There,
not even pay attention to the weeds.
There you go. Let's not be negative on it. Feed the flowers.
Oh, that's great, man. Well, so my battery is slowly dying too, so I don't know how much. Thanks, Dr. Edling. Dr. Edling says, excellent interview. Totally. Wow.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Edling.
That guy rides bikes like they're going out of style, man.
Motorcycles or bicycles?
Bicycles. He's a beast.
So I'm
He
going
rode-
to Revive Treatment Centers. Oh, I didn't even finish telling you what I'm doing. You said you have a busy time coming up, so
Yeah, tell us.
So, all right. Paleo FX is not this weekend, but next weekend. And then at the very end of this, basically on the 31st of May, I'm flying to Colorado, spending some time with my family, and then spending some time at Revive Centers.
Nice.
And again, Revive Treatment Centers of America. That's Dr. Joshua Flowers, who is my current functional neurologist, and he's awesome. And Dr. Godet is also there, who commented earlier. And I'm going to be spending 2 weeks there, and then I'm flying to Pittsburgh to have my brain scanned again with high definition fiber tracking, which is unbelievable technology. Have I told you about this, Ryan?
No, where in Pittsburgh are you going?
I'm going to the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center.
So isn't that where Bennett Amalu, the concussion guy,
You got it.
did his thing?
Mm-hmm. I
Now,
believe. Yeah.
I do have to say, tomorrow the Penguins are playing the Capitals in Game 7. So if you can catch a Penguins game, or if you come across 2 tickets, I will fly up there, dude.
I'm not going to be there tomorrow.
No, in 2 weeks.
No, not 2 weeks. Mid-June. Mid-June, I'm going out there.
That's like possible Stanley Cup time.
Nice.
All right, sorry. Anyways, let's go back to Pittsburgh. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
You know how many brain injuries are caused by hockey?
I know,
shouldn't.
man.
I mean, not that that's a bad thing. Hockey's awesome. Not that. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll just.
Oh, Sidney Crosby's done very well under functional neurological care.
Has indeed. Yeah, and she was. Where was he in Pittsburgh? Philly?
Crosby plays for the Penguins, Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Yeah. Yep. So I'm going to Pittsburgh, and I'm having my brain scanned with high definition fiber tracking. So that's amazing. And if you haven't seen the video I posted about high definition fiber tracking, head over to Adventures in Brain Injury or feedabrain.com and search HDFT. Let me see. Actually, I'll do it right now, and I'll get you a real life
We can
URL.
share it on the page.
Yeah. So the real life URL is Art Science HDFT. art-science. And let me share it on this page. How do I do that? Right on screen updates. Here we go.
Nice.
Ooh, look at that. I don't know if
Fancy
I can
man.
copy and paste that. You know what? I'll put it in the Facebook comments. See if that'll work. Ooh, look at whoa. All right. What else we got? What other questions, if any?
Yeah, any questions? There it is. Feed a Brain posted it.
Cool.
How'd you get hooked up with that?
With what? HDFT?
Yeah.
Actually, William Bird, who you'll see in that video that I posted. William Bird is one of the researchers, probably like the head researcher on that. And he actually went online and looked for a brain injury podcast and found mine and invited me to have my brain scanned.
Nice.
I was like, yeah, absolutely. I'll be there. I'll be there with bells on, baby. And he told me I can't bring the bells into the MRI machine.
Bummer.
Yeah. Throw things up.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, I may have to step off soon because I'm at 5%.
Okay.
And my charger is at the clinic, so I can't. I've got this like new Mac, which is awesome, but it's got the new charger. You know those like, have you seen those new whatever they're called chargers?
Yeah, I got one of those.
You found someone with that same charger?
Yeah. They're the new chargers. I'm in a workspace right now.
Oh, okay. We only have one of them at my house, and it's actually at the clinic.
Well, yeah, you're at a house. I'm at a workspace for like where people work.
You're in a phone booth.
I am. This is the new phone booth. Let me show you guys this. Let's see. I bet you Superman would have no problem in this.
There it is. It's the phone.
There's the phone. There's the phone. And here's where I am. Well, you can see my reflection there. But that's the city of Austin. Sorry. There we go. Whatever. You're just getting the reflection of my computer.
That's super cool.
Yeah. It's beautiful here, man. So almonds not bad. I'm looking over what Lena said.
Yeah, they're not bad for everybody.
Almonds. Yeah, almonds are great. You know what? They're good. You know, they're real food. They're food that we've been eating for a long time, and that's good stuff.
Hey, while we're doing this live chat, can you talk about Dr. Jeremy Schmo is doing a online summit? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah,
I know you
actually,
contributed.
That's right. I'm sorry. Yes, I am going to be in that summit as well. I forget what it's, Brain Health Summit, I believe.
Yep, the brainhealthsummit.com.
Yes. So yeah, Amy Zellmer and Dr. Jeremy Schmo are throwing this Brain Health Summit.
It's free.
Exciting. It's free. Mm-hmm. And I forget the dates. Early June, I believe. Yeah,
I think June 5th through the 9th.
Right. So go to thebrainhealthsummit.com and register. It's free. And I'll be speaking, and a few you're speaking, right, Ryan?
Yep, I did a gut-brain access chat.
Nice. We'll be
David Traster speaking, who that guy is amazing. He's super smart.
We interviewed David on our podcast recently. He is definitely very smart. And guys, if you haven't heard our podcast, go check it out. I promise you, it's not just for brain injuries anymore.
Yeah. A couple other good people on that, just to give a shout out to Nate Kaiser. He's super smart. He teaches for the Carrick Institute.
Yes.
Dr. Mike T. Nelson. Have you met Mike T. Nelson?
I don't know Mike T.
Oh, he's so cool.
Like Mike T. It's almost like from Beastie Boys.
Mike T.
Mike T.
He's got his PhD in like exercise phys, or I forget something. He's gonna kill me for forgetting, but super smart guy.
Yes, I saw Mike T. He spoke at
Yes.
the International Symposium.
Yeah, I think he does some performance stuff for the Carrick Institute. So
yes.
Mike T. Nelson, Sachin Patel, who's one of my favorite people. He's awesome. He's really big in the functional medicine community. David George. So there's a good lineup. So if anybody's interested, it's free. I mean, look, you get to chat with Cabin for an hour.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Come on, and I'm excited. That'll be great.
But I think Dr. Schmo mentioned it's like the biggest and the first like online traumatic brain injury summit that has been done. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm super excited for it. And I'll leave it at that. I'm planning to do a summit as well. I was planning for this October, and I was like, you know what? I'm launching a book this October, and that's work enough. It'd be cool to launch them both at the same time, but really, too much all at once. So we're gonna do the summit. We're gonna do the book first, and then we'll
Dude, you're the man. You work your butt off. So
you know, I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm like, yeah, I do. And then I was like, maybe it's because I'm powered by ketones. Maybe that's because I was hanging out with a bunch of ketone people.
Get your ketones at www.ketocredible.com.
That's beautiful. Yeah, seriously, it's great though. There's your biohack. I'll use that term.
All right.
Just true biohack.
Well, hey man, I got a link to summit registration page. Can you pull that up or?
Yeah, let me see.
Let me see if I can.
Was it the Brain Health Summit?
I think it's Brain Health Summit. It's gonna be bad. We just like talked about it and we can't find it.
Well, I'm sure we'll be okay. Brain Health Summit.
I got it. Did you get it?
Brain Health Summit. It must be.
I got it.
You did. Well, I did.
Okay. Sit to the page right here. Cool.
Yeah, did you get it?
Yes, I think that loaded up.
Great.
But yeah, man, I just I don't know. Am I doubling?
Yeah, you probably are.
Sorry. Well, hey, my computer is like about to crash, so I just want to say thank you so much for letting me chat with you. And dude, 6 years, and look at where you're at now. I'm so excited for where you're going to be in another 6 years, man.
Yeah,
you look amazing.
Thank you all for being on the adventure with me.
Yes.
This is an adventure, and we're all living it, and it's great to have you all as part of this. If you have not heard my podcast, you can check it out on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, anywhere where podcasts can be found. Or I'm going to post a link as well to where all of our podcasts are in the comments. So check that out as well. And thank you all for being here. It means so much to have this community and to be on this adventure with you all. So thank you guys so much.
You're the man. I honestly, I've never actually met you in person, which kind of sucks. Seriously, just
hear what you told them about how we ended up connecting.
It was the romantic.
Oh,
yeah. The light was just right. The food was nice and warm. I don't know. Anyways, but I just want to say, just spending time with you, talking to you, hearing your story, it's made my life better, and it's just so nice to just be able to chat with you. So thank you so much. I'm very grateful.
That means so
So
much, Ryan. Thank you.
yeah, man. And keep us posted on your progress. Like if you could, when you're in Pittsburgh and when you're in Denver, if you can like
Yeah.
update us. Get Josh Flowers on the camera. He's got a good looking face. He looks like
Yeah,
Jesus.
why don't we start maybe we'll do like updates together or something.
Do a Facebook Live video from the gyro stem.
You know what? I will. I actually did before. I did one where I was holding my phone and it was crazy, and I did one where I set it up and then just recorded myself going around in circles on that thing. But yeah. One more thing I want to announce is that if you guys have not gotten the free supplement guide that I have at feedabrain.com, do so. And you need to subscribe to the newsletter. But honestly, I never write anybody a newsletter. I really rarely do.
It's true. It's true. I signed up for it. I haven't got any newsletters.
Yeah, I know. It's like, what's Kevin doing? I'm in a lab, like typing away, and I really prefer being live with somebody or on camera or actually corresponding and chatting rather than like passing emails and texts back and forth. It's like technology is great and all, but we text too much. And it's like, we have the technology to just pick up the phone and talk to each other.
Yeah.
And we have the technology to video chat with each other.
Yeah.
Soon enough, we'll have it so that we can look in each other's eyes over the computer.
It's amazing. But cool. Yeah, so check that out. It's really good information. So
check out the supplement handout.
We'll post a link to that too.
And if you go to feedabrain.com/book, that'll take you to the book page, and there it's.
Sarah said, I can't read the whole thing, but it said, technology is great and all, but we text too much. And then she said something about the greatest comment or something.
Best quote ever.
Yeah.
Love it. Love you, Sarah. Man, Sarah, I'm going to be in Colorado first week of July. I'll be free. And I don't remember if you're in Colorado or not. But if you are, well, she used to be. Yeah.
And if you're not, you can just text each other.
Yeah, we can just text about it endlessly and never speak in real person or on the phone. We'll just text about it.
Text about it. Cool.
Text about it. All right. Well, thank you guys so much.
Happy anniversary, man. Thank you. We're grateful for your time.
And I am grateful for all of you for being here.
Feed your flowers.
Feed your flowers. Feed your brain. Feed a brain.
Feed a brain. Yeah.
First letter of the alphabet. All right. See ya. Bye, everybody.